Good evening.
I'll double down too.
It is 7:30. I'd like to call the meeting to order. I gotta just grab something just a second. I need the Pledge of Allegiance and the opening prayer, please.
Lord, we are meeting here tonight to conduct matters of business. Guide our hearts and our minds in the spirit of fairness, right thought, and speech. Impart your supreme wisdom upon our activities so that our affairs may reach a successful conclusion. Thank you for being the source of our guidance tonight. Amen.
Amen.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Lorraine,
Present.
Shoemaker, Mathis,
Here.
Krug is present, Kessler,
Here.
Gopel,
Here.
Tucker.
Present.
You have full board.
Okay, I need to shut my phone off too. Included in the packet are the minutes for June 19th meeting. Are there any changes for the minute meetings? All right, the minute meeting stand is approved. Pardon me?
You gotta do the agenda because it was different than what was sent out.
Yeah, I got two of them, so I'm doing the one I just got, that's why.
Yeah,
I was just hesitating.
okay.
Let me just get this phone shut off just for a second. Got it.
This agenda is different.
The agenda is the one that's on the table, that's why I was hesitating. At the very end has Butcher Road resurfacing.
Okay.
And you all have that, it came in the mail, for your email.
No,
Tom said.
the one we have didn't. Oh, did you send it later?
No, I didn't. We just got it this morning. So rather than, since it was a one-pager, I just printed it out for everybody.
Trying to understand, it's different than the one I got via email.
It's different.
Yes.
Yes. All right, expenditures. Are there any questions regarding any of the expenditures that are in front of you? Tom, I have two questions. We have,
Madam Supervisor, we still have to approve the agenda.
You have to approve the
We still need a motion.
okay, I just want to ask this a minute before I approve that, okay?
Okay.
Like you just said, the agenda was altered. So are the bills, I'm getting two of these, or I actually got four?
No, the bills have not changed from what was sent out
Okay.
before.
All right, expenditures. I'm so sorry. I've got it all mixed up because of the agenda. The regular meeting of June 19th, do we have any additions or depletions from that? If not, motion to be made to approve the minutes for June 19th.
Well, don't we need to improve the agenda first? Either the amended one, I think that's probably what we
Of
gotta do.
what?
I think we have to approve the agenda first, and then we can,
Okay.
I think that's the way we need to go about this.
All right, approval of today's agenda.
So moved.
Do I have a second? Okay. Motion is carried. All right, now I need you to look at your expenditures, but what I was saying, Tom, I have two sets of expenditures,
Yes.
but I've looked at both of them. John, do you have the two?
Yeah, they came, we had two different sets. Well, I think what happened, there was a payable run just before the holidays because we had a 3-week gap. And I think
Okay.
I think the first one is the shorter
is.
one is bills that were taken care of because we had to take care of it before this meeting, and then the second one, which is 500 whatever, is the quote normal expenditures.
All right, now, Tom, do you want those added together? Normally, she does, but I'm seeing they're not added together.
Well, in your outline, I've got the total in there. If you want to take it off, right, that's the total right there.
Okay, let me have that one, and I got it in the wrong one. All right, are there any questions in regard to these expenditures?
I have just one.
Yes.
Tom, you could answer this. The Cook Excavating,
Yes.
are we detailing which one's part of the pump station and all the work we're doing separate from just the maintenance?
Well, they're being book kept separately, yes.
But what I'm looking at here, they're combined.
Well, what you're saying, the summary, yes, they are.
Is there a way that we could get those broke out? Because remember, we're supposed to be looking
Right.
as a board to look at whether there's a reduction in monthly maintenance with this pump station upgrade.
Well, if you go
And it's hard to do that if I'm just looking at it.
Right, in the detail, I believe it does break it out. We do track the other information separately. Here.
Well, I'm seeing $26,000 if I'm correct, $11,000 in monthly maintenance, and the emergency calls, which were supposed to be cut, were over 15,000. There's 26,000, so.
Now, do you, as board members, get from Lawrence Engineering in regards to what is happening as far as the bond money?
The update.
An update? You do get that? Okay. All right. Tom, that is that they have a special account for the bond money.
Right.
Okay.
And is everybody getting the sewer cash flow statements? Does that go to everybody, Tom?
That's-
Sewer committee.
No, I don't receive
The
that.
sewer committee gets that.
Let's start spreading
I
that
was going
everywhere.
to say,
I can do that.
you need
'Cause
to do
it's
that.
got it's a cash flow analysis for the year, and it'll be actual from January 1 to current date, then projected through the rest of the year, but it's got all that breakdown in it, so you can see where.
So if
each
we're
of the
saving the
categories-
money we thought we were going to save.
Yeah, you can see what the categories are, you can see the actual dollars through, we just got one last week, I think, and that was through end of June, so.
But we'll get you that, yes.
Okay. I'd like
Because
to be included in that.
we do get an update as far as the stations, the pump stations. And then we do get an update as far as how many emergency calls. And there's so many of the pump stations that have been updated that the emergency calls are a lot less. And we've not repeated going back to those. Let's just say Sonora. Sonora was one that was hit a lot. All right, they've done some work on that, repairs and that because of this bond. And now we have not gone back to Sonora for quite a long time. So it's working, Vince, it's working. But we'll get you need to have all that, all of you, so you know. Are there any other questions? All right. A motion is in order to approve the expenditures totaling $559,481.60 for payment. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Support.
Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
I vote yes. Mathis?
Yes.
Kessler?
Yes.
Shoemaker? Yes. Gopel?
Yes.
Pardon me. Tucker?
Yes.
Lorraine?
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, public hearings. This is Lake Christie Improvement Special Assessment District. Hearing on a proposed special assessment roll, 5-year extension. This Lake Christie is in Fenton Orchards. If you drive into Fenton Orchards off of Fenton Road, go straight in, there's Lake Christie is right there. Excuse me, this is a public hearing on a new special assessment roll for Lake Christie Improvement Special Assessment District that, if confirmed, will continue the lake improvement project for an additional 5 years. We will now open up this hearing for the public comment regarding the following: an individual's assessment in relation to benefits received, the total costs of the project, the validity of the special assessment proceedings to date. Now, this is open up now to public comment in regards to this assessment for Lake Christie. If you would like to come up, you can talk at the podium. You can give your name. You do not have to give your address. Is there anyone in the public that would like to come up? All right. Is there any board discussion? Okay. Resolution number 2017-16, Clerk Crew, would you please read the resolution?
Yes, thank you. Susan, you didn't give me this, I was scrolling through the other stuff. Pardon me. Whereas the Township Board of the Charter Township of Fenton, Genesee County, Michigan, after due and legal notice, has conducted a public hearing upon a proposed special assessment roll prepared by the supervisor and assessing officer of the township for the purpose of defraying the cost of the weed eradication / control project proposed to be continued within the Lake Christie Improvement Special Assessment District as shown on the plans and specifications for such project. And whereas such public hearing was preceded by proper notice in the Tri-County Times, a newspaper of general circulation in the township, and by first-class mail to each property owner of record within the district upon said assessment roll. And whereas all present at the said public hearing had the opportunity to review, whereas no written objections were received, whereas a record of those present to protest and written protest submitted at or before the hearing was made part of the minutes of the hearing. Now therefore be it resolved the following, that special assessment roll by the supervisor or assessing officer of the township shall hereby be designated as Fenton Township Special Assessment Roll 2017-1. The assessment in Fenton Township Special Assessment Roll 2017-1 shall be divided into 5 annual installments, with the first due on December 1st, 2017. The assessment made in the special assessment roll are hereby ordered and directed to be collected by the township treasurer, and the clerk shall deliver said assessment roll to treasurer with his warrant attached. I'll move the resolution.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Shoemaker.
Yes.
Gopal.
Yes.
Tucker.
Yes.
Kessler.
Yes.
Lorraine.
Yes.
I vote yes. Mathis.
Yes.
Resolution passes.
The next one is the proposed special assessment district for the improvement of Eleanor Street from Owen Road to Island View Drive. This was at our meeting on June 19th. The public can discuss any of this information that you'd want to. The only thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to limit your conversations to 5 minutes, because last time the meeting went on and on, there was a lot of repeat. So is there any discussion from the board right now in regards to this?
Well, I thought with Tom's memo, I thought the deal was we were going to have to redo this based on what Jack was saying about the proper procedure.
I believe his interpretation of the statute really puts the board in a position where either we have to direct the residents to get more petitions, or the board can initiate the special assessment by resolution, which means we'd have to kind of readopt the first resolution, which gives them the time frame for people to file a counter petition if they so desire. So we're pushing that off till like the second meeting in October or August possibly.
Well, I don't know about the rest of you, but there was no opposition that I have no intention of voting for something the board would put together. I mean, this to me is incumbent on the folks. As I understood the issue, the question was when you're getting signatures on the petition and calculating percentages, do you include the non-direct benefit groups in that calculation? And historically, we have not done that, and Jack is saying we should be. So this one, in my mind, is dead in the water until somebody comes back with
I agree.
I
enough
agree.
petitions, because I'm not going to do it at the board.
I agree.
And I thought Chris Swanson would be here tonight because he's the one that took the petitions around. But he's not in, oh, pardon me?
He's not in the country right now.
He's not going to be here. Okay.
Do you understand, Roger? You get what the issue is?
Well, you know, I didn't get that necessarily.
You
from
want to
the
come up
last-
to, Roger, you want to come up to the microphone?
I guess that I didn't get the impression, John, from last week that we had to circulate the petition. I thought it was in your hands.
Right, that's what's happened since. That's why
It's
I
in our
wasn't sure how much you guys knew. Since we were here last time, Jack Belzer went back and did some digging, and what he has told us is what our historic practice has been is not correct. What the appropriate procedure is to, when you're doing the math, to include the residual parcels, the ancillary benefited parcels, whatever you want to call them, ones without the direct improvement on there.
Right.
You have to include them in the math when you're determining whether you got 51% or not. And we've not historically done that. So the petitions we have are enough for the way we used to do it, but they don't work for what Jack tells us we should be doing, which is half of the combined aggregate group. Anybody that's going to be paying, if you will. You got to come up with more than half of those folks.
So then, in other words, we have to circulate a petition for all the identified property owners that would be using Eleanor Street in and out.
Right. And
So in other words, it is dead in the water. If that's the way you're going to proceed, or that's the correct way to proceed,
Yeah.
then somebody has to get the petition and go around, get it signed, get the 51%.
Right.
And until that's done, you can't do anything.
Right. Well, we have an option of creating a district as a board, and there's enough dissension here, I guess, on that. All of these, my position is always, whatever the residents as a group want to do, we're here to collect the money. This is your projects, your roads, your lakes. So my concern when I look at these is just making sure that I've got a majority of people involved that agree with what's being proposed. Right now, with the new math, I feel like my fourth grade math teacher, but with new math, that isn't the way it works. So, and if you think about it, you can still get 51% without ever going to the ancillary benefit areas if you get enough participation in the direct benefit areas. So, it's a math problem that's going to vary with every one of the assessments. But what we have now, it doesn't have 51% of the combined area. And I would just say I'm not comfortable as a board creating a district and slamming that one through because I want to make sure that half of the people involved are in favor of this or more.
Sure. Well, I think what I'll do is get in touch with Chris Swanson when he gets back, and we'll go through the petition issue then.
You can put him, he's got the Ironman training. You can just send him around house to house.
Yeah, really.
It'll be a good training event for him.
I prefer driving in his car rather than mine, by the way. Thank you.
Good choice.
Richard Steinhoff from Island View Drive. I agree with what you just said there, Mr. Tucker. That's what I was arguing for all along.
You were.
Is
yeah.
that the original petitioners, that's all they did is that they asked that the road be repaved. They didn't ask for a special assessment other than themselves. And so, what you could do is wait for the petitions to come around, and then you get the input from the people who are going to be assessed, 51% or 50.2% or something like that. Otherwise, then it's the board imposing taxes, fees, not taxes, fees on people that 6 people signed the petition in the first place, and then you're imposing it on 150 people, and then you have to go around and to get 20% to stop the action, you need 25 or 30 people, disgruntled people, running around getting signatures. So what you could do today, though, is you can approve the original petition as signed for that small district, and then if they say, well, this is too much, then they can say, then we'll go to the outside district to help us out with this. Maybe they'll propose something like that they would pay, 2/3 of the cost, and the rest would be distributed over 1/3 of the cost. And then, they can propose that petition. But if they're content with, that's all they asked for was to get their road repaved. They didn't ask for a special assessment district. You can approve that, and then they can go out and get the additional signatures if they need. The road commission also sometimes contributes to the
development or repavement of roads. They did that to Island View. And, to offset some of the expenses of the people on the road. But I would certainly say, yeah, okay. Wait for the big petition for 51% of those people assessed, or you can approve the thing as it is, as they originally requested it.
But Richard, there might be people from Island View that do want to contribute in regards to this, and we don't have that list in front of us. So in
Yeah.
my mind, I can't divide the people up. I think we got to wait for Under Sheriff Swanson to show us what he's got, and then go back and get the rest of them if you want 51%.
So waiting for 51%?
Yeah.
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 That's the other way of doing it, yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
My name is William Gardner. I also live on Island View Drive. I came down 2 days after the last hearing to Township here to acquire the proper petition to protest the proposed creation of this assessment district. And I was told that they don't know, the people that were here that day, what that petition would be. I've talked to Jack Belzer also a number of times. And until this assessment district is created, you can't circulate a petition against it because it doesn't exist. So this has to be passed before we can protest it. People don't want it.
Okay.
But if it's not passed, there's nothing to protest.
Exactly.
So we're just going to leave it until Swanson brings us petitions.
That's what I think.
I think so.
Yeah, it seems
What
to
do
be.
you, Landon, what do you say? Agree? Everybody else?
I didn't hear what you said you're going to do. You're going to leave it in limbo, and we have to be concerned about this in the future. When then would be another hearing when you are going to possibly or not possibly create this special assessment district?
Well, you get another notice like you did with this one. If
Yeah.
somebody comes in with enough signatures, it doesn't matter who it is, if they've got more than 50% by, is it by frontage and by count? Because
It's frontage.
Frontage.
it's frontage by the statute, but haven't we, as a board, wanted
Count?
more than half of the parcels? Isn't that what we have been doing? No?
No.
Just
Just
like
straight
frontage.
frontage?
Statute, I mean,
Yeah, I thought we.
you
okay.
can, before you, if a petition meets the statutory requirement, then you're obligated to have the hearing. Now, as a board, you can use other criteria to determine whether or not you want to proceed.
But isn't that informally what we've been doing? We said we wanted more than half of the parcels. I have a memory of that.
I think it's been discussed in general unofficial terms at times.
But we've never actually done that?
No.
Okay.
But we can certainly provide that information. If we do get over 50% of the frontage, along with that, we can communicate how many parcels that is out of
Right.
how many
Yeah.
parcels.
I would like that information. I understand the statutory criteria,
Yeah.
but
So
I would like to know, just, again, all I'm trying to do is make sure that we're doing what the residents want done. That's all I'm really looking for.
It's not clear to me what you mean by frontage. Are you talking about frontage of the road that is going to be resurfaced, or are you talking about the frontage for the auxiliary people like me, for the road that they drive over?
To get to 51, you got to use both, as I understand
It would be.
the new way to
It would
calculate.
be all properties in the proposed district, their road frontage.
Right.
Road
So
frontage.
everybody. That's why we need to,
And even if they have two, it's the total road frontage,
right. Right.
2 parcels.
Frontage is frontage.
Yep. Is there any, yes.
If- I just have a quick question. So if they own, like some people on the lake, they own one house, and then they also bought the house next door to them, which is a rental. So would
That's
they
right.
get 2 votes?
Well, whatever their frontage is, if they got 100 feet here and 125 here, they count for 225
Okay.
of the total. So whatever that is.
For petition only.
Yeah, so I mean,
Okay,
you
I
can think of that as 2 votes, but it's still got to be
frontage based.
more than 50% of what the total frontage is,
Okay,
however you get there.
thank you.
So you're dividing, you're doing the lineal feet, right? You're not just saying one parcel. so many
Right,
feet.
that's correct.
51% of, or 50 plus whatever percent of the frontage being
So it's
in
really
the
easy.
assessment area
Yeah.
that anybody's
Okay.
gonna have to pay
Direct
money.
benefit and ancillary benefit areas, all
Absolutely.
included. That's what the
Oh,
new drill
people,
is.
yeah, whatever, yeah.
Yeah, makes sense.
All right.
So
You
I was
want-
just waiting for you to tell me when this is gonna happen, when is this gonna be cited, or at what future date we have
As
to.
soon as somebody brings a petition,
You'll get a
Yeah.
notice though. It'll tell
Okay.
you what the date and the time is. You know, you just,
Notice of what? Because I already tried to get a petition, and it was not, I was not given a petition to pass around,
Well,
because you can't petition something that hasn't been created yet.
and that's still true, and that's not changing tonight. If it does change, well,
It'll be
we
another
don't know. What'll happen next, if anything, is somebody will bring petitions with more than 50% of the frontage signed on it. Once that happens, then we send out notices to everybody like we did this time. It'll tell you date and time, place, and you'll come back down and you'll bring us something to eat and maybe something to drink, I don't know.
Yes, sir. Well,
I
then
see
it's
some
my
cookie bakers
understanding.
there in the front row.
It's my understanding then, unless 51% of this proposed special assessment district, including people that are not living on Eleanor, if 51% of all the people approve this, it's going to be passed. If they don't, in writing, approve this, then this township board will not create the special assessment.
We won't, and then if that does happen, you still have the right to go get your 20% to fight about it.
Well, just to clarify,
Oh, I-
the 20% counter petition only applies to a district created by board resolution.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so if a petition containing over 50% is submitted,
Okay,
then everything is in the hands of the township board.
okay, all right, good correction, I'd give you bad
And I
advice.
understood that.
Okay.
If there are 50% of the people in this special assessment district that have in writing approved having it created, then it's going to be created.
Yeah.
Thank you.
yes.
Gary Summers, I live in Chateau de Lac. I just learned something.
Gary, I'm going to ask you to speak a little bit louder.
Okay.
We've got the air conditioner blowing next.
Okay.
There.
It was mentioned that the amount of frontage you have is going to determine what your cost will be? Okay.
No, the frontage will be used to determine the
Size.
sufficiency of a petition.
But the amount of frontage on this road, and not on the lake.
Right, it's road frontage on each parcel will be used to determine whether or not over 50% is signed the petition.
'Cause- yeah.
If that happens and the board moves forward with a special assessment district, the board will determine the appropriate allocation of the cost among the parcels. That has not been determined and would not be determined until such time a role is created.
Because we have a condominium complex, and so there are common elements. And, we really don't have any frontage. There's so much, there's common elements in between us. But anyway, that's one of the questions. The other is, so that answers the frontage issue. The other thing is, I'm against it, first of all, because I think I mentioned it last time, was that we, as a community, said we would help pay for Island View and Eleanor. Well, the people in Eleanor said, we don't want it. So now they want us to pay, and the last time we were here, we were going to pay the same amount as what they're going to pay. I currently go out to Jacob, because I've got a car with some fancy wheels, and I don't want to, bend them. I've already done that once, not on Jacob, but on other places. So these new cars, the wheels are not very strong, so you don't want to hit a pothole like they have on there. So anyway, I'm against that, and it just doesn't seem right that I don't have to go on to Eleanor, and so why do I have to pay for them? You see what I'm saying? I just go down a few hundred feet and I go out on Jacob, and that's a better spot. And that brings up another problem. That road is getting very, very dangerous. People, it's 55 miles an hour at that point, and on Eleanor and on Jacob. and they drive faster than that. You can hardly get out because we have to make a left-hand turn to come into, that's the way we almost all, everybody goes from that community. And I think it's time for somebody to look at a light, maybe at Eleanor, because that's where most of the people come out. And because I'm afraid there's going to be a terrible accident someday because it's very bad. And then we have people walking along that road and running along that road and riding bicycles. And believe me, I know what happens because we had a son that got killed on a road similar to that 35 years ago. And I don't want it to happen to anybody else. It's a sad, sad thing. So I hope somebody will look at that.
Paul Dorland, and I think the board's on the right track. We have to go back and get the petition done the right way. Irregardless of that, I'm still in favor of that. The gentleman just says his car goes, so he goes down and goes through the other drive. Well, maybe he owes them people some money for paying their road too. Fair is fair. You can use all the arguments you want about how you go in and out of there, but 90% of the people are going to go down Eleanor, the short stretch, and it needs to be fixed one way or another. If we can't get it through with a petition wise, then maybe we ought to petition the county and see if we can get something done that way on it. And as far as the people there, there's only one house that faces Eleanor. And the one on the corner, he probably drives 80 foot and he's out on Owen. The other guy drives 200 foot and he's on Owen. So I can visualize why they would like to have it fixed, but they can't afford to pay for that short stretch of road. And I'm more than willing to pay my share. What's $600 over 5 years? People got to smarten up on this and look at it as a realistic situation. But if that's what they got to do is get the petition, then let them bring it on. We'll sign it. Thank you.
All right, is there anyone else in regards to this? Yes, you can go right up there. Thank you.
Carol Jankowski, Ellen. I'm just curious, who's all included in this assessment area? What all? Is it the peninsula and?
Tom, I'll give you information on that.
The
Thank
proposed
you.
district would include both segments of Eleanor, Island View, in the streets in Pavilion on Pine Lake, Barrington Hills, and Chateau du Lac.
Not the peninsula?
The whole section of Island View or just?
Yes.
All of Island View is what's being
From
proposed.
Jacob?
From Jacob till it ends, yes.
And not the peninsula, and I don't know what the name of that street is.
Oh, the one.
Scenic View. And
No,
Jacob.
because that's off Jacob.
Right.
It is, but,
So they are not in the proposed district.
okay. Thank you.
Is there anyone else in regards to this? Now, the board, I'm just going to give my opinion because I've sat here in regards to all of you a couple of weeks ago. If I lived on a road and it was in bad shape, and I knew I had to fix the road or get people to help, at the very beginning, years ago, Chateau du Lac did not have to do what they did. And they jumped in and they helped the people. And if it was me, I would say, give me $100 per person. It's less for me. Instead of saying, okay, you only use this amount of the road. I don't see where some of this, I hear, Richard, what you're saying in that, but the value of that road is the value of your homes as far as that road being in good condition. If you say, I'm going to do Jacob, okay, now you've got a fire station down there in the corner. We're talking about traffic and different things like this. We've got that fire station. It could be disaster. We do have trucks going in and out of there all the time. So I want you to think about it. And if it's only, I'll take you in just a second. If it's only going to be a 5-year, and I think they said around $600 and some, my God, it's worth it to have a beautiful road. It really is.
everybody?
I'm saying, Chateau de Lac did it for the people.
Right, when they.
And if they're still gonna use it, I don't believe Chateau de Lac paid the same amount, did they, Tom? No, they gave a certain amount.
1/3.
Okay, all right. But I'm saying, in my mind, get the road done. We can have all these arguments and that, but you've got beautiful homes down there. And if a person tries to drive on a road that's bumpy, they're not gonna go down anymore. They just won't. So that's my personal opinion. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Gary.
William Gardner, Island View again, and I lived on Island View since 1971. I paid for my lot, and includes the price of the road that was already paid. I paid for a portion of the road in front of my lot the second time. If everybody paid for the portion of the road in front of their property, that is truly fair. I think that we should be paying for 9/10 of the cost of Eleanor's improvements, and they're paying 1/10 the actual cost of pavement putting on their road in front of their property. That's not fair.
Years ago, I've been out in the Lake Fenton area since 1950. My father sat on this board also. There was 2 roads that they were concerned about. One is Log Cabin Point, and the other one is Casuego. On both sides of that road, both sides, which would be north and south of each road, my father owned all the property. Log Cabin Point would not have had a paved road. And everybody said, oh, your father's not going to do that. Well, he did do it. He said to bring his value up later on, he's got to have quality roads. And so he paid north and south of Log Cabin Point all the way down, north and south of Casuego all the way down. So I won't say no more. Any other board discussion? Okay. Now, do we table it or we just let it go?
No action,
Go
no
back
action.
into the other
Yep, we're
assessment,
done.
okay. All right. Let me get this. Okay, proposed. All right, this is a proposal, gentlemen, to the development of the master plan on Thompson Road corridor updates. You have the proposals in your packet. I need some discussion in regards to this. I'll just take a break a minute. Everybody's leaving. You're welcome. The elevator does go up.
Yeah, I tried it.
Yeah, the elevator will go up. Yeah, yeah. Boy, it just disappeared. All right. Is there any board discussion in regards to these proposals for the master
Is this the
plan?
typical turnout for a meeting about this?
Pardon?
No, 2 more leave, and that's a typical turnout.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Any discussion in regards to the master plan proposals?
What were the numbers again? It's been a while since I looked at them. They were pretty close.
30,958 for Beckett and Rader, and 34,180 for Rose.
So about $4,000 difference.
3222.
All right, I'll give you my opinion just to get it going, okay? As far as I'm concerned, and I do not have any partiality to anyone, we have started a master plan, but it was many, many years ago. Roe had worked on that. Then the economy dropped and we stopped doing the master plan. Whoever we get has to start over again. We've got the files for, I'm going to say with Roe, that we don't. And the company's not going to give whoever we get here their files. So it's going to take longer. I don't like the idea of something taking longer when we got people out there wanting a master plan to get in for rezoning in that. So I would say, I'm going to say Roe. And that's the only reason. They've done the sewer. We're working on water. We're doing a lot of things, and there's a lot of history on that. Okay, and you're saying,
I'm gonna go the other way, and I'll tell you a couple of reasons. One, how do you know how long it's gonna take one versus the other?
They do have set out dates.
Okay,
And
yeah,
I was
the
gonna
little-
contrast
the
to,
little-
they're both about the same.
Yes.
So there is no date
You're talking
difference.
the little squares where this project
Okay.
implement, and they did look the same. Two, and I don't know, all I can see is one, the handout that was in our packet a couple months ago, as far as the references. And one thing about the proposal, the road did that, it just, and I don't know either one of these people.
I don't.
Rose's proposal, something was mentioned in there that they will update the spots as needed. And I don't know why, it can be totally trivial on my part, but I didn't like that wording. And, you know, Beck and Rader, they're gonna come in fresh, they're gonna overhaul the entire thing, look at the entire thing. One, it's cheaper. Two, got a lot of reference, and I don't know either one of these people. I know Rose dealt with us before, but all things being equal, I mean, 50-50 down the line, I'm still gonna go Beck and Rader due to the fact that it's cheaper.
I'd like to say something also, Bunny.
Yeah.
I spent a lot of time on these, and again, I know neither, so I'm just going to give you my perspective. Did a lot of research on both. Beckett and Rader is an amazing firm. If you look at their references, you look at the communities they've dealt with. But I think the biggest thing is that, like you said, Roe was involved in our master plan a decade ago. To me, we have to throw out everything and start fresh. And to me, Roe's proposal didn't say that. It says we're going to take a look at the plan and update it as necessary. To me, this township doesn't look anywhere near what it did 10 years ago. I mean, we've got Thompson Road corridor is going to be what we wanted 10 years ago, but with the Miller Industries being up there, I think when I look at these two companies, I want to see a fresh look, somebody that's done multiple communities. I want them to come in and take a fresh look at our township, and we can look in the faces of our constituents and say, you know what, we hired the best firm for the best dollar, and they took a fresh look at our community, and they gave us a master plan. And to me, if that takes an extra 30 days, I'm all in.
Okay. I'm all in on putting out a vote. If anybody else wants to say what they want to do or make a motion, you want to make a motion, then, pardon me?
Can we comment on this?
Would you, yeah, go ahead, I'm sorry.
So who'd you besides Roe?
Becker.
So we have two.
That's who we got. That's
Just two?
Well,
That's what we got back.
No.
We sent out to a bunch, but that's what we got back.
Okay. Because I'm in the middle of a development right now, and if that's all you have back, that's good, but I could tell you who not to use. And those.
Now remember, we're on television.
That's fine. And I think you're fine with either two of those, but my stepfather used to work for Roe, and I've heard some of the inside stuff there. I think you'd be better getting a fresh look other than using Roe, personally. And my father's a developer for 20 years in Oakland County, so he's used everybody also, and I wouldn't use Roe. So
Thank you.
Is there any other comment, public comment? No.
I'm sorry, I don't know this gentleman. We didn't get his name. Who are you?
Oh, Ed Constable.
I should know you. I just haven't seen you in dress regalia.
Yeah. All right, does someone like to make a motion? I want to just get this thing started and get it going and go on with the agenda.
I'll make the motion.
Okay.
I'll make the motion that we accept the bid from Beckett and Rader, dated, well, I think you can fill in the rest.
Support.
Yeah, I got
Tom's good with that.
Yeah.
Okay. Any further discussion? Okay, roll call, please.
Get a second. I'll support. Okay.
Robert.
Okay, I didn't hear that.
Oh, you did? That was just the hit? Okay.
I heard it. I hear you, Rob.
Okay.
I got it.
All right. Roll call.
Gopal,
Yes.
Tucker,
Yes.
Lorraine,
Yes.
Mathis.
Yes.
I vote yes. Shoemaker,
Yes.
Kessler,
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, thank you, gentlemen. All right, now, the next thing is real estate broker services proposal. Review and selection. At the direction of the Township Board, and the RFP was developed to solicit proposals from real estate professionals to provide services related to marketing and sales of properties owned by the township. A total of 3 proposals was received. Analysis of the proposals and copies of each proposal are included in your meeting packet. So you have some good realtors here. I gotta get my list though. Is there any board discussion in regards to it? Preferences, anything? Tom, do you want to speak on that as far as the proposals? Some were stronger than others, some a little more brief.
Well, I can hide, there's a proposal analysis in your packet, and I can briefly go through that. There were a handful of requirements of the RFP. All 3 realtors provided a cover letter, background information, experience summary, and marketing methods. They all provided a fee schedule. McGurk Realty, Charles Braniff was 6% commission, reduced to 5% if there's no other broker involved in the sale. Mr. Constable from Tremaine Real Estate, 6% for residential, 8% for commercial. And Wade Piles from Berkshire Hathaway, 6% commission across the board, reduced to 5% if he's also the purchaser's broker. As far as the valuation listings, McGurk did not provide one, indicated they would provide one at the time of listing. Mr. Constable provided an itemized listing, and Mr. Piles provided an itemized listing and a detailed profile of each property. As far as the proposed agreement and references, all 3 complied with that part of the RFP. So it really boils down to the board's preference.
Mm-hmm. Does anyone want to start the discussion in regards to what you would prefer?
Well, it looks like 2 of the 3 did what we asked them to do. And one of the 2 is lower than the other. They're all good.
Yeah.
So I guess if we follow our practice when we have established good people, we go with the lowest person involved based on their bid.
Where are you getting the spread, Bob? What's the difference in
The difference was,
Yeah, I can't find mine either.
oh, it's on the sheet. I want to say difference was between 6 and 8%.
Yeah, but those are different things. What they're all proposing, they're all proposing 6%.
Oh, I thought I saw 5.
No, one's commercial at
What the, yeah, right,
8.
well, right. this
Where's
way.
the summary sheet?
It's page 94. And so what they're all starting with is a base commission of 6. Mr. Constable's showing 8% for commercial.
Can I comment on that?
Just
Okay.
let's
No
finish
problem.
here. We'll get to you.
Yep.
And then the other 2, McGurk and Berkshire Hathaway, are saying if they have both ends of the deal, they got the buyer and the listing, then they will reduce 6 down to 5.
Okay.
And what Mr. Constable's commenting on is different. Well, he breaks it out. The 6% is the usual drill. Well, actually, I think the low custom around here is 7 for residential, unless that's changed in a while.
6 and 7.
Yeah. And commercial and industrial typically is a higher commission. That's been, my
8 to 10.
experience, been about 10. And I think that's what he's noticing, what he's noting there. So I guess it's a question of how you read the 6%, if that's only for residential or if they're intending something else. The other thing I did notice, and I saw it at McGurk, I don't know if it's anywhere else, but there were minimum commissions. I didn't do the math on it, but it was like $2,000. So I don't know what that sales price would be That
It's
would,
typically about 30,000. So it's typically anything under 30,000. It tends to work out that 6% on 30,000 tends to be about that $2,000. So if you're peddling lots for 15,000, you're gonna be paying a 12% commission, where we're still charging 6. And the reason on that 8% commission for commercial is out of those 3 realtors there, I am the only one that actually sells commercial. I've got a handful of commercial deals under contract currently, and I do them, I double dip them and sell them with other realtors.
well, I know McGurk sells commercial, so I know that's not
Not
true.
really Pam, Chuck. Oh, I thought it was Pam that put it in, you said
No,
Chuck.
well, it's Chuck, but the listing is with McGurk. McGurk does commercial, just
Yeah.
the same as, it's not a listing with you specifically,
It's with Tremaine.
right. And
So
Berkshire, right.
So you do
And I was
listings
under
with
the
commercial
Berkshire,
realtors.
that's commercial.
So the big commercial house in town is still Cooper, and Mansour gets a little bit of it. McGurk's commercial side gets a little bit, which they have like a residential and a commercial division, which their largest commercial realtor was Jeremy Rayburn, and they came in and told Jeremy Rayburn that, hey, we're shutting down our commercial division of this business, so he had to go open his own brokerage, Rayburn Real Estate. So just a little politics behind that. But commercial realtors, they're used to, like you mentioned, 10% commission. So they don't want to work for 3%. I can barely get them to work for 4%. So when I pay a commercial realtor 4%, I still can get them to show my listings. If I go take a commercial listing at 6% with a 50-50 co-broke, they're not going to show it because those old school guys don't work for 3%. It's just the nature of our community. Also, a 5% on a double dip. If that's what it takes to earn business, I do not have a problem with if you double dip it. It's so rare that you double dip a listing anyways. Who cares about a percent? And also, out of those 3 realtors you mentioned, I'm the only one in there that can handle the amount of volume of listings that you have. You go pull up Wade Piles, Pam
Okay,
McGurk.
sir,
Yes.
can I just cut you short on this just a
Yes.
minute? We've got to figure out, and I'm glad you're giving us the education in regards to it, but we do have these bids and we got to decide which way we're going to go. Because we did ask quite a few people to send in their resume and everything about it.
Yep.
But they didn't do it. It was just you and these other 2.
Yes.
So, gentlemen, do you have any comments in regards to this?
Well, I'll be honest with you, when I looked at them at first, I was familiar with 2 of the 3 and had good impressions of 2 of the 3. The third is the one that Tom commented had spent more time analyzing the properties and giving us a little more detail on the bid.
More detail.
So my thought rolling into the meeting without hearing or talking with anybody else was divide this into 3 piles based on value and give them all some work. You don't have to pick one. You want to keep the listing time limited down, and then if you get somebody that produces and somebody that doesn't, then you can move.
Now, do we have a contract with this
Yeah, they're all
company?
proposing a listing agreement. They're all,
Or-
and the custom in the industry is always exclusive listing. They would not want to do a scenario where all of the properties are listed with all 3 of them. It's not fair to them, because what
No.
they have to do for the listings is they've got to market them, they got to bring people through. There's effort and money that they invest in them, so they typically don't want non-exclusive listings.
How long are these contracts?
The usual, well, it comes with an asterisk, as most things drafted by lawyers do. The usual listing is for 6 months. It's negotiable. The printed form says 6 months, but there's nothing magic about that number. Then there's some language in the board form anyway that indicates if you turn out after the 6 months, you sell to somebody who was introduced to the property in the following 6 months, then they get a commission off of that. So 6 months is the technical answer, 12 months is the potential exposure, and none of that is written in stone, period. Even though it looks like it's on a special printed form, there's no magic to that. You can say 3 months, you can say 4 months. You have to give them enough time to
be able to
advertise, work the file. Everybody wants fast, but you also want fair value as well, and doesn't necessarily go along with fast.
So if we divided this up into three, and you're the real estate gentleman on the board, I mean,
Gentlemen, did I get a promotion?
No.
Okay.
But after 6 months, is it pretty clear to see who's the one that's digging and who's not?
Right.
Well, yeah, but there's some stinker properties too. Who gets the stinky ones? Who gets the good ones? Because there's a few that are
Okay, that's fair.
better.
How you divide it, I mean, I'm just talking.
That's the problem I have with dividing it is who gets what. I've sold stuff all my life, and I can tell you right now, just to give you an example, you get somebody, you know, let me give you an example, car example.
Right.
Let's go show someone a Yugo from 1989.
Right.
And you go show someone at least a 2012, Chevy, whatever you want to put on it. It's not a fair assessment. So how do you divide that? How much time?
Well, I was saying value, because they've all attempted, with the exception of, I guess, of McGurk, we've got a fairly good handle on what the range of values are. I don't think we know what actual value is. The market's going to tell us what that is. But we know this one's worth more than that one. So if you're dividing it based on value, I think that's going to take into account, in line with your example, 83 Yugo is going to have a very small value. So if you got stuck with the 83 Yugo, you probably got the 15 Cadillac that's loaded with leather as well.
Okay, but we were mentioning that only 2 of them actually were specific to the bids that we, right?
Well, I didn't see what the request for proposal said, if it required them to give us a list price for each of the, or suggested list price.
The RFP specifically
We have
stated.
2 that actually met all the conditions of our request?
Correct.
Okay,
Yes.
so would 50/50 be easier than
What happens
the 3?
if one of the realtors is
I
on
don't
one
know,
of
I
our
don't know,
boards?
this is beyond my ken.
Is that a good idea or not? That's a conflict, okay.
One thing I was,
Wait a minute.
Sits on
Amanda said, yeah.
It's conflict. I would too.
Are we
Pardon
talking
me?
about what I think we're talking about?
Yeah,
Yeah.
conflict
I
issue.
think there's a even on the last page, it said that he didn't say it.
He just owns the business, yeah. But there's no conflict of interest then?
No, she says
lawyers.
Yes,
what
there
we're
is.
saying there is.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, there's a direct
financial.
Financial.
Financial conflict
Yeah.
of interest.
Well, again, it depends on what the broker relationship is, and if it's a traditional brokerage house, that's true. If it's a 100% commission house with a fee paid by, that might not be, and I don't know what McGurk's
There's
structure
a
is.
distinct view of impropriety, though.
That, understood, but also if that is one of the firms that didn't meet it, I mean,
I
it's
think
kind
it
of
did
moot.
though, didn't
Yeah,
it?
it's true.
I think the
Oh, it
RFP
didn't.
stated exactly and I think anyone that didn't comply with the RFP should not be considered by this board. That's just my opinion.
I agree.
I agree.
One last comment. I know the people on our board, the way we operate, how we treat the people, and we all have always been honest up front and not slamming our competition. And Mr. Constable definitely made some very derogatory comments, and I don't know if he is the individual that the township should use to represent them.
See, I guess I'm a salesperson. I like that he's aggressive because you know why? When I hire somebody, I want somebody that's aggressive. I don't want somebody that sits back and just says, "Oh, that's wonderful and pleasant." Those aren't the guys that sell things. Those aren't the guys that get things done. I hate to be the bearer of bad news in that, but nice salespeople, you know what they end up doing? They end up getting fired after 90 days, Jeff. People are, I hate to say it, but you look, they're successful salespeople. They're aggressive. They're go-getters. And they got to difference themselves from the competition. So I probably wouldn't have done what he did, but I don't think I'd hold that against him per se.
The reason I did it that way is you can I don't need to say anything, on your computers, you can Google Zillow profiles for any of the realtors involved, and you can see sales volume. And sales volume determines what you're used to handling. So that's why I said that, because to throw 30 listings on someone's lap, if they don't have an assistant and a team in place to take that volume on, there's no way that they can handle that and deliver the level of service that a township deserves. That's why I mentioned sales volume, and I don't think they could handle that. That's what that was spoken.
All right, gentlemen, what's your wishes? As long as McGurk is not, no, he is not one of them. No, it would be Mr. Constable and this
Berkshire.
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 What's Berkshire?
I go back to what I was saying originally, because I'm familiar with Mr. Constable. I'm not familiar with Berkshire Hathaway. I mean, I know I've seen the signs and whatever, but I don't know them on a business level, if you will. So I would be inclined to divide the pie up. I don't know that we need to do that tonight, but you know, Sean, if you'd feel more comfortable dividing the pie up, and then we can see who performs.
Now, what you're saying is on these different parcels here, divide this up with 2 of them?
2 of them based on value.
I would never do that. I'd never do that. For the one reason, John, maybe the value is the same, but the area is different. One might have water in front of it, one might not, you know, and it's, to me, if you're going to give a job to a person, give them the whole thing and see how they work it.
Yeah, but you understand, these people are used to getting each one of these individually. That's what they do.
Oh, no, I know.
They aggregate many of them over all of their customers, but somebody saying, here, list this parcel is nothing new to them.
No, I know.
So the idea that you can get, I don't even know what our total is, but if you can each get 15, that's a cause to go out and drink a little bit if you're a listing broker, because when you list, you're guaranteed to get paid when it sells. That's a happy
Yes.
day. You've made money when you get a listing if you know how to do your job. If you don't, then you probably shouldn't go drinking.
How are they going to divide it? Who's going to do the division?
I don't care. I just was saying based on value. Sean's point is fair, and in the sense it's what you're saying. You don't want to give somebody all the dog properties.
You're right.
And all, but that will be reflected in the value, and we have a sense of what the value is, and you know, some are doggy relative to the other, but they're not total dogs. And if Sean feels more comfortable dividing them, I don't care.
I would just pick one and I'd go with it.
That's the way I would do it.
Because like the condos over there in Fenton Orchards, I think those are gonna be a tough sell for somebody.
You're right.
That's my 2 cents. But, you know, and yeah, they have a high value, but you gotta have somebody who wants to develop condos. So that's a completely different buyer than, you know, someone just looking to get a lot or put a house on a lot or something else like that. But it does have huge value, so I don't know how you would do that. But, you know, it's like I said, that's just my opinion, what the board wants to do. You know, I just want to get them listed. I don't. I was talking with Tom, I was
just get them out
amazingly
there.
thinking of it, and boom, it's on the agenda, so.
This was important to, I think, the whole board that we decided to put these up for sale through a real estate agent. We're sitting on 30 properties. I think it was a smart move by the board. Can I ask you a couple questions? And again, forgive me, I'm not up on real estate that much. I mean,
Okay.
John's a good friend of mine. Tremaine family, Jennifer, is it the same?
Yeah, so
Fam-
John and I is actually my business. John Tremaine's my business partner.
Okay.
We are developing land together.
Okay. So it's the same family, right?
Yes.
So you're like a John Wentworth in the sense you're very vested in this, in this community, correct?
Oh, yeah. I live right on Lake Fenton. And
I think that's kind of important. We should look at that also. I mean, I look around town,
Business
and you may
people in
disagree,
the
but you
area.
see a lot of Tremaine signs.
Well, where does the other gentleman live, do you know?
Lake Fenton.
Okay.
Wade?
Mm-hmm.
Wade lives?
I
Okay.
didn't know that.
I'm doing something, I need to real estate.
I researched where
Yeah.
they
Yeah, I didn't.
I did
Talk
not.
about this commission.
wrong jobs we had, Sean.
Have we checked with references and all? Was references ever given?
Yeah.
Yes, on all 3.
That's our references, yeah.
So the only thing we really have to go by is commission rate.
Yeah, that's how I feel.
I did mention that 5% on a double dip is fine, so the commission rate is the same. This is with the exception of the commercial parcel.
Well, which ones you looked at them? We have, what would you consider
There's
commercial?
just the ones on Thompson Road. There's the Thompson Road, the oil change, and the Thompson Road, the parcel next door to the oil change.
Yes.
Yeah, we're not selling that anyway.
Well,
Be sold together.
but the
You're
only
not
thing
gonna
is,
sell it.
We'll not.
Would you not agree as a board, though, an RFP is an RFP? I mean, certainly, as you can see, I would like to keep the business local, but you can't allow someone to come in here and start making changes to their RFP when they're in front of the board. I mean,
No, I understand.
that's being fair. You can't do
take
that
the
because
vote, that's
he
fine.
could be sitting there going, well, I'll just do 3.
No,
You know,
yeah,
we
I
could just have a
understand.
back and forth. I
Yeah.
mean, I respect the fact you're the only one that showed up, but at the same
That's-
time, you can't change your RFP. I
understand,
disagree
that's
with
fine.
that. We got to look at this. We're going to look at it. We asked for RFP. We got the RFPs.
I'm just gonna bring a point.
Okay.
We have Republic Service. I'm gonna throw that out there. No one had a problem with it when they changed theirs. So I'm just, you know, so.
I'm trying to save money.
Point taken.
Precedence. If he's willing to do it for less.
But we can't
the
do that.
contract hasn't been
They
signed.
were
Well, there's no
submitted.
contract, there's no contract.
No, but we had bidding date, time, and opening of the bids.
We did that with Republic too. We went back and we changed it when we did the every 2 week.
You're the one.
So I'm just gonna,
But that was good, you're right.
I'm just gonna tell you, I'm just playing devil's advocate here, I'm sorry, it's just.
No, yeah, that's
it's-
true.
let's-
Whether you pick me or not,
It
I'll
saves
still do a
money,
double
saves
dip for
money.
5, so it's fine.
Ed, what do you have for
Can't
value
take 'em
for the
like that.
vacant oil change facility itself?
I believe there was a lot of parcels on that. I believe I put somewhere around 325,000. And I have sold service garages, not in Fenton, because there aren't any for sale. I do currently have a parcel pending on South Long Lake Road, which I believe is the city of Fenton there. That's an industrial type zoning. It's a little bit bigger. We put it pending at 425. And I've sold the, oil change service garages in the city of Flint, Burton, stuff like that. But, there aren't any in Fenton to sell.
Inside of that building is not equipped for even business, for an oil change company to come in. It was totally destroyed. They had tanks that leaked. We had to get the DEQ out there. We had to take all the tanks out, put holes in them, clean them. They're up inside the building.
Okay.
So in the car wash, they didn't shut the water off and all the pipes all broke, and so all it is a shell. But
There's still
Mr.
value.
Pardon me?
There's still quite a bit of value there.
The land.
Oh, yeah.
Location and just a shell building, you'd be amazed what people will pay just for even something with a service store. It's a big trend in retail right now where they take the back of the buildings and they'll put in bay doors, so then it makes it so they can rent to a heating and cooling company or a lawn care company or an electrician, so they can store their stuff in actually a retail unit instead of renting an office space or just having a warehouse. So the service space, the garage doors is what's worth the money there.
Yeah, oh, absolutely, absolutely. All right.
Oh, also, I know you mentioned value. On there, marketing commercial real estate is much different than marketing residential real estate. It's completely different MLS listing source. And the listing source for commercial real estate, it's called CPIX. It's powered by a Catalyst program. That's what Cooper, that's what all the big guys in Detroit use. And I don't know what the other proposals are, but I don't think I've ever seen any of Berkshire's listings on CPIX, which that is the listing source for commercial real estate. So if you were gonna, I just want to make sure that you guys hire someone that's gonna put it on the right MLS, not just put it in an MLS, because they're different.
Well, the only other,
My line of thinking, sorry.
Go ahead. The only
My
other-
line of thinking that is, we've had these properties for so long, if we do divvy them up and we get a 6-monthly and we
There-
find out
there you
that
go.
nothing is, see whoever, if they're not in there, we can always find somebody else
yeah,
afterwards.
if there's no action at
Right.
all within the 6
So-
months.
I mean, that's, I guess, that's just my thought on that. Again, I don't care, 50-50, don't matter.
Did we request a 6 months or a year, or?
Well, John
I
said we
believe
can
the
request
proposal said
whatever.
a year for some reason. I'm just going from memory though. I thought it was surprisingly long. My typical listing is a 6-month deal, but I think the proposal for some reason did say a year. But any standard realtor e-car listing agreement has an early termination fee, so it reads something like, if the seller decides at any moment to terminate this contract early, they agree to pay an early termination fee of blank. And I do leave that as a $0 mark, so you're not happy with my service, you can get rid of me, you know. If you don't want me, it is what it is. Everybody's contract's the same, well, the same, but I don't know what they put in that blank.
Use the board form.
I use the board form. Page 2, middle.
All right, we've got to do something
The listing
tonight.
agreement
Get
for
it
McGurk
over with.
is different than the board form, but if we're not considering them, that's a moot point at this point. But what he's talking about, there's the listing agreements, there's a termination provision. I haven't looked at it in a while, so that's new to me, termination fee, but that's in there. He's willing to do 0. That's employment at will.
Right. Yeah.
Yes. Would you like to make a motion and get it started?
I'll move that we divide it up amongst the 2 qualified RFP candidates based on price. John, is that what you're saying?
Value.
Value?
Yeah. Prices.
You wanted to take these 2 people and divide it up?
I mean, it's still 15 each.
But we've not asked them if
Okay,
they would
well, I'll
want.
pull my motion.
We can't. Yeah, we haven't asked them to do that.
Well, I get that.
It would be me bidding on something. You too, Rob.
Well, they can say no.
Huh?
They can say no.
Well, no, I know they
find
can
them.
say no.
We're going to change if it said a year in RFP.
Well,
we're
we
gonna
can
change
try it.
that.
I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. I just want a good realtor. I want to get rid of the property. But
I'd rather just use one realtor.
one realtor.
I would support that.
Okay, and there's Vince. So I agree with one realtor. There's 3. Gentlemen, 1 realtor or 2? We've got.
I
would rather
care.
get one.
They're saying 1. I'm saying 1. Bob?
I'll wait till the vote.
Okay.
Well, if the RFP was for a year, that's going to change. Okay, and the termination fee being 0 would have to be part of all of this.
Even if we split them up, I would only agree that if we've got somebody out there that's going to do 0 cancellation fee, that the other that we chose, if it was Berkshire, would have to agree to that. So I would support going with 1.
Ed, do you know where the cancellation provision is?
So of the listing contract,
Yeah.
page 2,
Yeah.
about the middle of the contract, right under where it shows like a commission split on the right-hand side. You want me to come up and show you real quick?
Sure. Save me digging through it.
Page 2.
Scroll down right here. Right here.
Okay.
$0.
Okay. What it says is if the seller terminates agreement prior to the expiration date, the seller agrees to pay an early termination fee in the amount of, and he's got 0 filled in, yes.
So basically, you're at will.
I'm at will.
So to me, if I can get a salesman to work and all my employees are at will, I mean, that's
Good.
That's real good. I mean, he believes in what he's doing. If he doesn't, he knows he can be fired in 30 days. Or not fired, but...
in a day.
Yeah, he can, in a day. So to me, that's...
Never happened.
All right. Who would like to make the motion?
I'm going to make a motion that we enter into a 6-month contract with Tremaine Realty with the provisions that were set forth by Ed, that 0 early termination fee, 5%, what do you call it?
Co-broke.
Co-broke.
5% if I double dip.
Co-broke, double dip, 6% on commercial, or 8% on...
6% co-broke, 5% if I double dip, and 8% on commercial.
All right. I'll make that motion.
So moved.
All right, roll call, please.
Kessler,
Yes.
I vote no. Shoemaker,
Yes.
Lorraine,
Yes.
Mathis,
Yes.
Tucker,
Yes.
Gopel,
Yes.
motion passes.
Okay.
Thank you.
I want to just say one thing. And I know this is the younger generation, and you are too. Mr. Krug and I were not the younger generation. When you first stood up and then you were talking in regards to your opponent, let's say, and you said those few things, and when I said, whoops, watch, you're on TV, I would never do that. I mean, and I'm just telling you that. We already voted you in.
Yes.
He was not wrong in saying what he said.
No, I understand completely.
So
In ways,
that's
I get
something,
along with him.
wait.
Yes.
That's something you don't want to do. And you might think that we're not that intelligent about real estate. But in our age, and even my age, there's been a lot of real estate sold and bought. So I appreciate you being the only one that showed, though. I don't know why the other companies did not send somebody.
Honestly, I think I got you some business being the only one here.
Thank you, and I appreciate the feedback, constant improvement. You know, Kaizen, whatever that saying is.
But listen to me, really.
No,
It's
Thank you.
bad
I want to get
politics.
better all the time, and like you said, I'm young, new in business, and I appreciate feedback, and a lot of people, for some reason, are scared to give it, and I want to get better all the time. So thank you, Mr. Krug, and thank you, Ms. Mathis.
Okay, thank you.
Don't forget Sean, he liked what you're doing.
Oh, thanks,
Yeah,
Sean.
Sean.
And we learned we
Impressive.
shouldn't buy used cars.
There you go.
With the way, the cheap as
Oh,
our lease
where's
is,
my
you probably
paper now?
should.
All right. So, Tom, how does he go about this now? Does he come into our office and you'll give him all the, or do they have the listings?
Well-
Do they have the packet like we have?
We need to set up a meeting.
Okay.
Yeah, so he can bring in the contract can be reviewed.
And so that contract, I included one blank contract.
Yeah.
Do you think it'd be best to use the board form with an addendum with all of the listed property? Because the standard contract's made to list one parcel. It's, we're listing
We
30.
better do the board.
So maybe one for all of the vacant land and then a separate contract, seeing how it's at a different rate for the two commercial parcels?
Makes sense.
That would be
That makes
I think the cleanest
That's what
way
I'd
for
like
the
to-
paperwork to be presented.
Because you may be
Clarify
doing a
it,
great job in residential and not a good job in
Yeah.
commercial, we can also do the
Terminate one or the other.
determination
You
on
can't
one
sell
over
the,
the
you
other.
can't sell the one
So-
separately.
I think
That's fine.
Yeah, just.
I would think it's better to sell them as a whole.
What, on Thompson Road?
The town,
We have to actually,
the
so
second
I'll tell you
property,
about
they gotta
that.
be sold
They
together
have to
or
be
just
go-
the old
they have
change
to
by
be
itself?
he's probably never done.
And there will be some
Because he doesn't
machinations
know-
if
no one
if
knows
when we get to
about-
that point.
No.
People don't know about the way we.
I'll tell you.
That's right, that's right.
So maybe
We gotta tell him. There's things that we have to sit
we
down
should,
and
we
explain
should
to
get
him.
with Tom on those,
Uh-huh.
and because.
Yeah.
the
And to
Thompson
be
Road-
honest with you, I know everybody wants to sell that Thompson Road.
No, they don't.
No, you don't, I don't. We're gonna have
Neither do
Thompson
I.
Road's gonna be redone.
So,
Maybe
just
by the
agree on
middle
that.
of, well, we're almost into the middle of July. By the end of July, they're gonna start on it. Once that road is done, the value's gonna go up. When you said the oil change company was value, you were thought about 325,000.
Yep.
A year ago, maybe even
Oh,
longer, it was,
don't tell them. We're
Okay,
on TV, we don't want to do that.
oh, you're right, we're on TV, I forgot. All right, anyway, we want to consider that road being done, property's going to be more valuable. There's already some people that have been watching it, so.
Okay.
Okay. So we're going to go on to proposed state of Michigan grant agreement. Tom, you want to explain this on the new election equipment?
Yes, what you have is a standard grant form with the state of Michigan for the state, and also using federal HAVA dollars to pay for new election equipment. This is a statewide initiative. Everyone in the state is updating to new equipment. There are different vendors. Genesee County chose Hart InterCivic. They have the newest technology of all of them. And as far as the 8 tabulators and 2 voter assist terminals and accessories, the grant will completely fund that 100%, and that also includes the maintenance for the first 5 years. The only cost we're going to have is we have ordered 1 additional tabulator to use as a backup that's $5,000. But then the $3,000 we had budgeted for maintenance on the old equipment is going away, so it's really not costing us too much. Yeah. So this is a standard agreement. And then there's a resolution to go with it that authorizes the township clerk to sign the grant on behalf of the township.
Any downside at all that you see from this?
No.
Gotta learn new equipment.
We have to learn new equipment.
Well, I like pros.
No,
Yeah, to me, I would have preferred that we waited longer before we replaced what we have now. It is still very functional. We've had it 13,
Is
14 years.
this grant likely to go away if we don't take it?
Well, we don't have a choice.
We don't,
The decision was made by the states and the county, the state and the counties. We can't say we're not doing it.
So why are we doing a resolution?
because we
Because we
need,
have to apply for we have to agree to the grant, so they'll pay for it.
because the state says you have to ask us for it.
So if we don't do it, the state's gonna say, you owe us this money for all of them.
Right,
If we do it, the state says, you owe us $5,000 for one.
right.
And it turns out to be 2,000.
You got this one, Mark? You know where you're gonna go?
This is why. I stick with this level of government.
Yes,
I'm not kidding.
Point taken.
That's
I'm
true.
not kidding.
That's
Point
true.
taken. Yeah, I can't argue with it.
all right, is there any more board discussion? Resolution number 2017-17, Clerk Crew, would you please read and present the resolution?
Yes, thank you. Whereas the Fenton Township Board wishes to apply to the Secretary of State for a grant to purchase a new voting system, which includes precincts tabulators, absent voter county board tabulators, accessible voting devices for use by individuals with disabilities, and related electronic management system software. And whereas partial funding for the new voting system will be provided by the state and will include a combination of federal Help America Vote Act and state appropriated funds. Whereas the Charter Township Fenton plans to begin implementation of the new voting system in 2017. Now therefore be it resolved that the Fenton Township Clerk is authorized to submit this grant application on behalf of the Charter Township of Fenton. I'll move the resolution.
I'll second it, but I have a question. With all the brouhaha we've had over the last election, does the new equipment have any kind of internet connectivity at all to it? Do you know to that level yet what they're talking about replacing?
No.
No, it's very similar to what we have.
Okay.
It's the same
Process?
Yeah, the same process. It's basically a tabulator that reads marks on a piece of paper.
No connectivity at all?
No.
So how do we upload the information to the state?
Well, the new equipment will allow us, knock on wood, to get our totals and accounts at the end of the night. They go on a, what do we call that?
Well, they
Thumb drive or USB?
well, it does go on a thumb drive that's turned in, but we also will be transmitting via cellular service
Right.
the results directly to the county so they can get their unofficial returns in quicker. The official returns are still going to reside on the flash drive that we will transport to them.
And we hand deliver that. I hand deliver it to the county the same night as the election.
Never thought I would care about that level of minutia, but the way things have been going, I guess you have to ask the question now.
I was going to
yeah.
ask the same question because, you know, it kind of concerns me when the state starts saying, well,
You're gonna replace
we're going to
that.
give you money
To replace that.
to replace that, and that does worry me. It really honestly does, because if it has any type of connectivity to the internet, it can be corrupted. I don't care if that's via cellular or anything else.
Well, the only thing that's really not gonna be controlled as we do right now is the communication with the unofficial counts. Because it seems like.
Well, how does that benefit
intra-
under the, what do they call the act?
Help America Vote Act?
Yeah, how does that help the Help America
It-
Vote Act?
It-
I just want to know,
that-
just
that-
because we can transmit unofficial early, how does that have
This-
anything to do with?
This is a caveat to the county. They want the totals as soon as they can get.
Well, it has nothing to
versus-
do with opening it up for more people to vote with disabilities and everything else, as
But-
that's written.
But the new equipment for those with disability, be it sight, hearing, whatever, that piece of equipment is an improvement over the present equipment. But it's still, when we set it up, other than colors and size, it's gonna be basically what you see the last times you guys have been, voting at the high school. Physically, it's not going to be much different.
So what is going to happen with our current equipment?
They are all being taken back and salvaged.
The Russians want them.
Mark and I were just talking, that's how Rob beat Mark, was Putin.
Is that what it was?
3 votes.
The Russians were involved.
And in that case, it was just the Putin family.
3 votes. That's all I could get.
Yeah, 3 votes. But it's really just, some of the areas within the state, equipment hasn't been maintained, and they're looking at replacing individual pieces. The decision was sort of made, if you start having piecemeal repair, you can run into people questioning. So these will all be sealed and everything. And really, the way we do it now is probably, in my opinion, of most of the clerks in the state, the safest way to do it. I mean, as you know, anybody can get in and do things, but by giving them then the early count, it makes them happy. But the township city clerks physically deliver the official, and Tom and I and a member of each party watches clip the seal before it goes to the county.
Okay. All right, thank you. Any other discussion in regards to it? Okay. Resolution number 2017-18, scheduled hearing for proposed.
We didn't vote on it.
No, we
had a
didn't.
roll call.
Liberty
We had a
Shores.
motion and a second, we didn't get the roll call on this
You
one.
just need a roll call.
Okay, all right, roll call, please.
Tucker,
Yes.
Lorraine,
Yes.
Gopel,
Yes.
Kessler,
Yes.
Shoemaker,
Yes.
Mathis.
Yes.
I also vote yes. Resolution passes.
Okay, now, resolution 2017-18. This is to schedule a hearing on proposed street improvement special assessment district for Liberty Shores condominium development. You have this in your packet. Is there any board discussion in regards to it? For Liberty Shores? They haven't.
Is this the same problem, John?
Well, it is, but I assume since it's here, Tom's already done the math with the new methodology. They must have had high participation in the direct improvement area to get them to that number.
We gotta get
In
them
this
to
case,
do it.
the Phase 3 properties, even though their roads aren't being touched, they were included on the petition, and a matter of fact, they had a bigger majority in Phase 3 than they did in Phase 1 and 2.
Really?
But, yes. So, yeah,
They're tired of driving over it too.
all of the properties in the proposed district were on the petition, and they have over 57%. And I know a big percentage of, or a big share of the people that did sign were individual developers who they probably never approached because they got to 57% and turned it in.
Yeah, and this one really has to be done. We gotta get this going.
Well, this is a problem area that we've had.
Oh, it's been
And
terrible.
I don't know if everybody remembers, but we've now changed the ordinance so that we're requiring roads, including top coats, to be put in first.
Yes.
Because this is sad. When I see this is sad.
Mhm.
You know, that they have to do it, but they're acknowledging the realities, and they're more than half of them say, let's get it done.
Well,
So-
Okay.
the thing about this, and it was part of, as you said, was people are buying lots, having homes built, and we can't give them an occupancy permit because the roads aren't done. So this will allow
gonna help.
the developers to
Right.
complete them in a phase,
Right.
so I don't have a brand new home I can't go in.
All right, resolution number 2017. Schedule the public hearing on the proposed street improvement special assessment district for Liberty Shores condominium development. Resolution, Clerk Krug, would you please read?
Yes, whereas the Chartered Township of Fenton has accepted petitions from the owners of the proposed properties in Liberty Shores to create a special assessment district under the authority of Michigan Act 188, 1954. And be it further resolved that a hearing of any objections to the petition, to the improvement, the estimated cost, and to the special assessment district proposed to be established for assessing of the costs of such improvement shall be held on Monday, July 24, 2017, at a regular meeting of the Township Board at the Fenton Township Civic Community Center, 12060 Manitowoc, Fenton, Michigan, commencing at 7:30. I'll move the resolution.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Lorraine?
Yes.
Mathis?
Yes.
Kessler?
Yes.
Pardon me. Gopel?
Yes.
Tucker?
Yes.
I vote yes. Shoemaker?
Yes.
Resolution passes.
All right, Sean, did I hear you say no?
I said yes.
Okay, I didn't hear it, so that's what, I thought I know you wanted that done. Anyway, all right, this is the proposed amendment to 2017 Fenton Township budget. Operation Manager Tom Broker, would you please explain?
Yes. Not a lot to change in the budget this quarter. I can cover a couple things real quick. On the general fund, we are proposing to lower the tax revenue budget based on the chargebacks we received from the county treasurer, about $7,000. The dog park revenue, and you'll see further, the dog park expenditures, which are a wash on the budget, are being moved to a separate fund based on the okay from our auditors. And then we've got some additional expenses and revenues due to an unscheduled election in November. As of right now, it's Linden schools only, but it's my understanding it will also be doing the Lake Fenton millage proposal. And that, other than maybe a couple of small items, there's not much else in the general fund at all. And then we're proposing, the budget amendment creates a budget for the dog park fund, and just a transfer of the budget we had within the general fund to show that separately. And that's really it. The other funds, we're not proposing any changes at this point.
Okay, is there any board discussion in regards to this? All right. Motion to adopt the amendment to the 2017 Fenton Township budget as presented.
Second.
Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Kessler?
Yes.
Gopel?
Yes.
I vote yes. Shoemaker?
Yes.
Lorraine?
Yes.
Mathis?
Yes.
Tucker?
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, great. Is there any comment on from the public on agenda and non-agenda items? If not, I'm going to introduce you to our new detective, Detective Tomasak. Oh, what, Mark? No, okay. Pardon me? Oh, Butcher Road, I'm sorry. That was the one that messed me up at the beginning. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm going to introduce you in a few minutes, okay?
Don't go away.
Yeah, don't. A few more minutes. All right, proposed local road project. This is Butcher Road, and you do have this was given to you, and you have the amounts, and the balance due from township funds would be $126,413.16, and this is a milling and paving, and it's between Fenton Road and the county line. The prices are only good till the 2017 paving season. I believe that's almost into November when everybody goes deer hunting. So is there any more discussion in regards to this?
We budgeted for this?
Pardon me?
Yes, this was actually one of the roads that was on our road plan, and it was discussed at our public hearing, and it's actually about 60,000 less than what we had anticipated initially, so if they can hold to this number, we're gonna be good.
All right, so we said, so Tom, do we have to approve this one for the road commission or just sign these?
Well, the board needs to approve the proposal so we can, then you can sign it, we can give it to the road.
We just sign it,
I'll
okay.
move to approve.
Do I have a second? Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Kessler,
Yes.
Gopel.
Yes.
Lorraine,
Yes.
Shoemaker.
Yes.
Mathis,
Yes,
Tucker,
Yes.
motion passes.
okay. We'll get these signed and sent out tomorrow. Or do you want us to take them to the road commission? How quick do they have them?
Once you sign it, we'll get it to Dan Hudson, and he'll get it to his
You
people.
want me to sign that one?
They've got an original upstairs with their
Upstairs,
seal
okay.
on it, so I'll have you sign
Okay.
that one.
All right, we'll do that tomorrow morning then. All right, I will say oh, no.
You're still here?
I wanted to introduce you with all these people, and I couldn't get into it. This is, I believe Mr. Gopel knows Thomas Act, and he is our new detective. Is it Sergeant? Yes. Sergeant, now do I say Sergeant Detective, or how do you do?
Detective Sergeant.
Detective Sergeant, okay. Now, maybe can you give us just a little bit of an update of what's going on in our community?
Yeah, over the last month.
Oh, his back hurts.
No, that's all right.
You could hear, you could see it.
I came from the gym, so I'm slow stiff still. So, over the last month, we had started getting some complaints starting around the end of May on Island View Drive. People were waking up and finding out the car's been ransacked. Apparently in Fenton Township, people don't believe in locking their cars, unfortunately. So it turned out to be a group of 5 kids, identified all 5 of them. 4 of them were charged. 3 of them were charged with home invasion in the first degree because they went into garages that were attached to houses while people were sleeping. Under the statute, that's home invasion first degree. They're all 17, 18-year-old kids. They all come from, what I can see, pretty decent families. They just got bored, I guess. So one did not cooperate with the investigation, and a whole world of bricks about to come down on him in a little bit. So, and then just recently on Island View Drive again, we had someone thought it'd be a good idea to bring some guy and girl they just recently met. They were staying at the Travel Lodge Inn up in Dort Highway down to Island View Drive to watch fireworks, and then the car got stolen and the house got broken into up in Burton. So that turned into a real fiasco. But we found out who they were, got all the property back, got them charged too. So it's been kind of busy over the last month, but fortunately we got a really good patrol out there. The deputies I have out there are really good. They're hungry. They go out there and they work. They dig. Something happens, we're pretty quick on it, and we don't have too many things out there that are completely unsolved. So last month I told the board, addressed the board, and I've talked to my deputies that I wanted to see more traffic stops. And I want to make this distinction very clear. I don't want more tickets. I just want more traffic stops. Okay? Because to the person who might not be from the area, who might be casing, if they drive through there and every time they drive through, they happen to see a police officer stop a car, they're probably going to go to the next area, which is what I'd like to see. So.
Yes, yeah.
One of your deputies had stopped yesterday on North Road by the freeway ramp. There was looks like one of those mini buses that you'll use to go to Tiger games and whatever. It was parked there and it was empty. And he was probably asking the same question I was, what the heck's this doing here? But he was checking it out. And was not tagged when I came back by later, but it was good to see that somebody was looking and seeing what was going on. It's in front of the RV place there. Just parked right on the side of the road.
And one of my deputies, and this is just goes to show how hungry and what they do. If you're familiar with, over the last, 2 months, they had the 2 dealerships that were hit with all their navigation equipment. One was down in Brighton and the other one was down in Pinckney.
Yeah.
One of my deputies sat in L'Enfontaine and actually came across a guy who was photographing the inside of the Pacificas, identified him, and so now we know who he is and passed it on to the other agencies. So I'm not sure if this person's involved. I haven't heard back yet. His story was that he was with competing dealerships, and apparently it's okay to go and photograph other dealerships' cars. That was his story. I doubt it, but.
But they look like the ones that he has in his lot?
So,
Yeah.
but we know who he is now, so.
I do have one question.
Yes.
And again, as a riparian, I've been in this lake for close to 30 years. What is the policy of the sheriff's department? I know we pay to have a certain number of sheriffs out here. But I've noticed more and more, especially over the last 5 or 6 years, that we're protecting a lot of private property at a large expense to the township on certain days. And these are my friends, but I just wonder, how do we determine when we have 5 officers sitting on someone's private property, protecting that private property?
Can you give
How
me a
do
for
explain
instance?
that?
Pigs Point.
Pigs Point.
Oh, Pigs Point.
Oh.
I'm just going, and Bill's my friend,
yeah.
and Chris was out there.
Yeah.
Sheriff Swanson, I mean, he was standing out there by the tree all day, and we're talking. My point is, to me, as a taxpayer, talking to my constituents, I'm saying to myself, this is a $20,000 day to the taxpayer for us to pay to protect private property.
Well,
And I have a problem with that.
and I understand, and from a law enforcement point, what I say is, trouble like that is kind of like a virus that will spread quickly if you don't get on top of it right away. So if you get a point where people feel that they can gather and drink without impunity and do whatever they want without having to worry about consequences and think that this is going to turn into a party point, it's very quickly going to blow up on you.
But you're not changing the dynamics of the point. So you can't sit there and tell me that you're going to wait for something to happen, because the dynamics have been the same for the last 5 years. We're spending taxpayer dollars to protect private property.
Well, I mean, I guess that's your way of looking at it, I guess. All I'm seeing is I don't want to have to work on a drowning victim. I don't want to have to work on something like along those lines where alcohol is involved and it gets stupid and someone gets hurt. So that's from a detective, and from my point, that's how I look at it. I don't look at it as I'm protecting someone's private property. Maybe that's how it appears, and that's something that we can maybe talk with undersheriff about. But the way I look at it,
Like I said,
Yeah.
I'm glad that they're all safe. I just look at, if somebody comes to me, and I've had somebody say this to me, so if I throw a party and I have a couple hundred people here, the sheriff's gonna come over here and protect me, and make sure that my people don't get out of order.
well, it's not so much protecting, I guess.
No.
It's more of looking out to make sure that other people's properties get protected and people don't get stupid and start doing, if you get a mob of people and now everyone's drinking, now you get a drunk mob, you got yourself a bit of a.
But we used to have the same problem right in front of my house for 20 years.
Okay.
Probably with more people. Sheriff's never patrolled there.
I can't
No,
speak
but
to that.
can I interrupt on this one?
No.
It's also for the health, safety, and welfare of the people. Pigs Point, the shortest distance from the road, is right there. So the sheriff, when they come in, and we know how many cars they're going to have. Everything is kept hush-hush. But when they come in and they are going to arrest people, they take them right out of that narrow spot in the road, and they're in the county right away. So it does look like they'll walk out in that, but you have people, like you said, drunk, that are swimming in the water. You have boats coming in full blast, shut the motors down. People could get hurt really well. You have people urinating in the water. And we are also protecting all those people on that shoreline, plus the boaters that want to come down. And I agree, we tried every which way, and this is the better way. And they do events take them out. They take them out.
And I do remember, and part of the problem with Pigs Point was if you walked across the road through that condominium, you had the party store right there.
Yes.
Right? And so that's when we started writing the trespassing tickets. It wasn't really to protect anyone's property, but we wanted to take that shortcut away because we wanted to make them work for all their extra beer, you know? So they, if you put a little resistance into it, people aren't so quick to go and grab that case of beer then come back here. And so that was kind of the strategy with that. And I think it kind of worked. I think it did work.
It did. I know people that won't park, they used to do that all the time. They won't park at those docks anymore. Because they heard you started popping and writing tickets, and that was that.
And I've always found that when you start getting a group like that, and people start getting a little unruly, you just got to take one or two to jail, and that pretty much straightens everything out.
The only reason why I brought it up is, again, Bill's a friend of mine.
Yep.
I like the fact that nobody gets hurt out there. But I have had taxpayers say to me, listen, that's not fair. I mean, he's fine. He has huge party. You're right.
Maybe 2 or 3, 5 cops. I think there were 7 out there at one day. I mean, on the
fourth, it was, Chris was out there at the point, there was 5 other officers just on his property.
Yeah, 6.
And they had 2 jet skiers.
Yeah.
That never moved outside the lake. They just stood there the whole time and just went back and forth and back.
Regulated.
So you got basically 7 officers for 2 days, 3 days. That's a huge.
But Vince,
It's control.
and again, I'm not related with the sheriff department anymore, but I'm gonna go with Tom on this because that's where the calls are gonna be. That's the biggest organized group of drunk people on that day, at that particular time in the entire township.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know that's where, it is, I call it like I see it, you know that, but that's where the trouble's gonna be, you know, and if they're not there standing there, they're gonna be there on calls in a half hour anyway.
No, I understand. I just brought it
Save
up.
the drive
so
time.
I can say I brought it up.
I see your point, but.
Now, I can say to those constituents, you know what, I brought it up, and
That's right.
this is what they told me was the answer.
And I have been advocating to spread out a little bit more. I like to see our Marine Patrol maybe hit Silver Lake a little bit. I'd like to see the other lakes too, and just kind of get out there and, I know we do concentrate a lot in Lake Fenton because, and Lake
it's
Panema.
bad.
Where all the rabble rousers are at, right, Bonnie?
Yeah, we
Yeah,
need some
it's
Silver
bad.
Lake coverage.
It's bad. 4th of July, it's bad.
Silver Lake.
Everything went well this weekend. And the past weekend, we didn't really have anything too crazy, you know. My deputies were down there. It was pretty crowded, but everyone was pretty much on their behavior. We didn't have anything too
When
bad.
you were saying that it goes out of control, there was one time, maybe 3 years ago, quite a few pontoons tied together. And the people on the pontoon started fist fighting with the other pontoons. And our one officer was at the beach, and they were taking this young guy and just beating him up out in the water and then holding him under. And the officer said, motion to him, get to shore, the guys that were being physical. They didn't move. They said, come get me. Our officer walked, right, with his uniform, shoes, gun, everything, got on the raft, took him by the neck, and he was in the county. I mean, he didn't. Huh?
Is that Grovestein?
No, I can't think the tall one.
Jim.
Denier.
He didn't
get on a
raft.
Huh?
Jumped in and went and got him.
Oh, did he? Yeah.
Yeah,
But anyway, we do need it. And I think now, though, Lake Panema is getting more problems. Uh-huh. And it's the sand dunes in Lake Panema. But boy, we appreciate it. And I asked one of my officers, I have an older gentleman in the township, and I thought, you know, I'm going to give this a try. He's in his 80s, all alone. He has no relatives. And I said to my officer, he lives in a big house, got a circle driveway. I want you to drive in every other day and just knock on the door, or you might see him outside with his dog. But we need to have a police officer in and out of there, like this officer is his friend. And it worked. It worked.
Good.
And he's as happy and he's not afraid.
Good. Oh, what scares me at the point is the double-decker pontoons. They'll get 8, 10 people on that double-decker, and they start leaning, and I've almost seen them go, and there would have been people getting their heads chopped off if it would have went. They saved it one day. It was like this, and they all ran to the other side. So I don't know if you can just yell at them to get off the top, but it gets wild.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
I want to know why I've not been invited to this party. I'm just.
Oh, it's so calm compared to what it used to be.
Oh,
I
it
won't tell you what
is.
it used to be. When it used to be out there. And
Oh, I've
Billy-
heard some of those stories, yeah.
The belly splash. Do you remember that?
And they'd have the belly
Housing medics.
Do you remember Officer Brady?
The naked belly, yeah.
Oh, yeah, there
Yeah.
was no clothes involved in that.
With the
Yeah, I
belly
remember Officer
splash?
Brady.
Oh, it was terrible.
When I was in medics, so I
Absolutely.
remember that. I remember Warren once, just, everybody's running down there because there's a big brouhaha going on, and, that was going on for a while, and I think that's kind of when we started shifting our strategy a little bit and said, okay, this is ridiculous.
This is ridiculous, and it stopped it, yeah.
How did we buy up, because I want to go to real quick, but how did we stop, or why did we stop the no anchor?
I did it.
Okay, so why don't we have a no anchor? 'Cause
All right.
I'm sure the bill probably
My-
thought it was cool 10 years ago, but I'm pretty much
Well,
thinking
he
maybe
was, he
couldn't
didn't
sell
own
that
it. He
property right
didn't.
now for a penny.
No, he didn't own it. Yeah, but,
6%, right?
my father had, hey Vince,
5%
my
over it.
father had 220 feet of sandy beach, and all the boats were there. And my dad was older, and I live on the island, and I tried to come over. The boats wouldn't let me in, and my dad was very ill. So I said to him, just lift up your anchors and let me get in. And they all, come on, Bonnie. So I went back to the island, got my camera, came down, took all their pictures, every one of them, my friends, everything. I said, I want to see my father. And they would not let me get in there. So then I got them developed. I took it to the state, and I stamped in 1988 a no anchor, because I proved that the children were swimming in the water, the boats were coming in at full blast, shutting the motors off. But the props don't shut off right away, or decapitate it, just like you said. Now, then I go to Ron Elstrom over at the point, and I said, now, I got this no anchor, but you better get involved with it. They'll never come over here. There was an owner, a jet pilot that owned Bill's house. I went to him and I said, you know what? I got it established. Get in there. And he wouldn't do it. And then Bill tried, I don't know, 5 years ago, and he couldn't get it. And I think that was wrong. They should have given him that. But
Thing is, now they have the augers and they have those sea legs also, where the pontoon, they just hydraulics, push the things down the pontoon, drops right out of the water.
you got it. First time I ever saw one, I couldn't imagine why that boat was standing in the water.
They're
No
cool.
dock around it, just standing. It was like, oh my God. So, well, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Now, you don't have to come next month, or you do?
No, we're gonna come to every meeting.
We invite them to every first meeting of the month.
Okay. That's wonderful.
Yeah, so, and I'll be at the next meeting you have, and I'll have all the stats for last month, and we can see what we did, and
That's good.
see if I have to give my guys a little boot in the rear to get them a little more.
Okay, thanks, Tom.
Thank you very much.
All right, I will say good evening. The meeting's adjourned. Did you want to say something today? No?
I want to ask a question.